Oops, I just got cut off. Wednesday, September. When September? Why did I say that? February 16. Wednesday, February 16, 2022. It's 11:58 in the afternoon. Oh my god, I'm so like. So now I gotta pee too. You're like, I don't know, but I don't want to be like. I want to wait until, because then I'm going downtown. I'm hoping to go downtown. So it's 12:58 p.m. Wednesday, September 16, 2022. The idea that things are getting better for our melanated brothers and sisters, it's extremely scary. It's extremely scary, what but I say I might understand, and I might be able to understand it because I've seen a lot of that, you talking about it, you're just making it worse. Yeah, just negative in the attitude, whatever, it's the same thing that I think it exploded in the 1970s, with the so-called blaxploitation films that placed a lot of dark-skinned African Americans in in positions of power, like the spook that sat by the door, the Black Caesar. Well, Black Caesar was an outcaster, but an outcast. But there was a lot of that in the 70s and 80s. That it was in the Secret Service. There was in the this and that. I don't know. And it's a beautiful thought. I mean, I think that's also part of why I have the best memory sometimes from the 70s, because that was the whole message back then. That was like, what is the problem? There's no problem, I mean, especially that always, the number one artist, the number one everything was African, or African Americans, which, you had the biggest divas, Diana Ross, she didn't even need a last name. Just Diana. And Donna. It didn't need to be Donna Summer. It was like, so there was obviously no internet, no nothing. So you will see that everything was happy, everything was honky dory, and there's another low flying plane. That shit is ever since the lockdown. I've seen them flying really low. I mean, they start very low, but I don't know why. I just find it very weird, that they go like. I get distracted so easily, but and of course I got audience, but it's also like, I wish it was true, I wish it was true, especially when I go downtown, you see the, Aristo blacks, that, wearing, $1,000 coats and shit. and living the life and whatnot, you know. I guess just to create also to support that belief, you know, that we are in post-racial America. Yes, we forget that America is a continent. It's not a country. But it's just for me. I mean, I keep saying this. It's just. Yeah, because there's no effing way. I mean, if I was to write a book, and I will tell, you know, even if I was a fantasy book, you know, fiction, whatever, you know, I will put that, you know, these peoples, you know, some peoples, let's just put some peoples, you know, whatever. Because you can say I don't know, it's kind of hard, you know, because there's nobody gonna believe it, right? That you can put, I mean, even if I was to write, put it in a book and say like, going through all this and they want to stay here and they embrace that the blood spangled banner, they shove it in your face and they're like, you know, like lunatics. Because I mean, like over here, you know, like, yes, it's true, there's a lot of immigrants, especially in New York City. We are a lot of immigrants here. So every time we see that, you know, right off the bat, they tell you, you know, what kind of person that is, you know. They put it in their profile and whatever. And but if you just arrived, you know, like it happened to me, you know, in 1989, and you know, you watch like, oh, you know, this is great. Everything is great, but then once you start digging and like you see like it's not possible. It is not possible. I mean, like, and as we know now, you know, it's just not. It was not just any form of slavery, you know. It was not like it was chattel slavery, which is like, you know, totally despondent, you know. It was not even 100 years, no. It's 300 something years, 350 years, and then it was like 300 years, I forgot, you know. I don't know the whole chronology, whatever. Even if it was 100 years, if you got any self-respect, you know, you want to go someplace. I feel like, you know, that should be a healthy response. You know, you want to go away from the rapist, so you're able to heal and to get back on your feet. You know, you're able to, and then from there, you know, I mean, hopefully from Africa, you know, then you can say, you know, shit, I was there, you know, my grandfather was there, my great-grandfather was there, working for free for 300 years, and we need indemnization, we need the reparations, because, you know, that's a crime of less against humanity. It's a crimes against humanity. So, you know, you name it. You know what I mean. But it just, whoever made those decisions to stick around, it's just like, you need to be, you know what, whoever was the leader that said that, you know, hey, let's stick around here a little bit more, because I mean, after slavery was no was no joke. After slavery was no joke. You know, I mean, it was a joke because I mean, like, okay, you're free, but you got no land, no nothing. So you got to stick around. You remember, you got to stick around and like. And a lot of people, I can see a lot of African Americans stuck around because, you know, their ancestors was buried there, because that shit happened in my home country. They found that, and a lot of the historians, they recorded that, and they put it like, oh, you know, they started crying. But it was not because, you know, as they wrote it down, that it was because they loved their boss, whatever, or in this case, the slave master. No, it was because their ancestors was buried there. They had already 2 generations buried in there, and I mean, I don't know. I'm talking about my country. That's the whole story. You know, that's what they didn't want to leave, because their ancestors was buried there already. And for anybody, you know, who got any common sense, you know that without our ancestors, we are nothing. You know, so we are fucked. But I mean, and then you know came you know, the period of mass incarceration, right? That just for anything, they was incarcerating African Americans. You know, the Jim Crow and all the persecution and all that stuff that it came with it, the terrorism. It was terrorism. So that's when, you know, the peons, they went south, and they say, you know, there's a lot of jobs up north. There's a lot of, so they all believe it, because they wanted to believe it, because they was tired of just going anywhere and seeing their own family hanging from a tree and having the nightmares and having, like, you know, that shit's gonna happen to you. That shit's gonna happen anytime, any minute. They come for you, and that's it. Still sticking around. But even so, even with all the terrorism ways, you know, like say the sundown laws, that all, you know, anything was a capital crime, you know, anything could have been a capital crime. You know, you went to the wrong place, whatever, they lock you up. And from there, you get, you know, rented. So you get rented as, you know, as if it was like a job agency, except there was no salary. No salaries, no nothing, you know. You see a lot of African master teachers saying that was worse than slavery, because they did not care about the property, because they could just get more. They send them more and more from the prisons. From the prison industrial complex, they can send them more, send 1,000 more, you know, to make the railroads, to make all these, most of the infrastructure, like I say, you know, the writing being on the wall. They haven't made any new infrastructure in 100 years. You know, the national debt is, I mean, exploded in the last 20 years. You know, like, and now we see that corporations are treating even whites, because I've seen videos, whites complaining about Home Depot and all these corporations. They're treating them like shit. There's no customer service. When at the time we suppose like, oh shit, they gotta be on the best behavior now because because we're just bouncing back from a whole year of lockdown and shit, and restrictions. So something is going on, but anyway, going back to they call it Stockholm syndrome. Shit, it's no joke. It's no joke. I mean, like, say I've been here since 1989, and the more I find out, the more it's just like, so this is insane. This is absolutely insane, for anybody to stick around, And even now, you get a lot of videos. You can like just do a search, and you find a lot of African Americans in the African continent. 99.8% of the videos are very positive. Just you hear a lot of the same. Just waking up in the morning, going for a walk, and not worrying about nothing. Like I say, the perspective of somebody like the most honorable Marcus Garvey, he was a Maroon. He was a Maroon, so he did not grow up with asking permission from nobody. He did not asking permission from nobody. You know what I mean? That made a whole difference. Versus over here, that easily to be spotted, and in a whole system of it's already they know, obviously they see their black skin, and automatically people they like, I mean, including myself, I guess, we all go like on code. We all go on code, and like you start acting stupid, expecting this, expecting that. Just like we all being brainwashed. We all play our part in this system, and we all enablers, because we go like instead of us saying what the fuck are you doing here? Stop the bullshit. You don't see the writing on the wall. Like right now, like I say, they have like thousands and thousands of politicians all over the United States. And that alone is scary, because any complaint that you got, it's gonna bounce back, because they're gonna say, what the fuck are you talking about? Don't you see how many elected officials are African American? That's not tokenism. And you go like, okay, so you look at the definition of tokenism and like, yeah, that's not the tokenism. You're right. We are post-racial. We have a right. But these are all despicable people. You got all these bed wenches. You got all these coons that and that's what they got. And nobody's calling them out. Over here we got Eric Adams. He just came out as gay. I want to talk about that. I don't know if I talked about it already. I don't know. I got so mad. I was like, I knew something was there. I kept telling people that shit never happened before. Never happened before. I say, when have you seen a heterosexual African American man? Just boom. Become an NYPD captain, become a senator, become a Brooklyn borough president, and then, didn't even finish right off the bat, mayor of New York City. I'm like, and I was right. I was right. That's the faggot, that's what it is. And I'm terrified. I call a friend of mine, I tell him, like, this is terrifying. He don't even find it terrifying. Like, you don't see how they're ruining your reputation already. They want to make you into this harmless little creature that, you're just weird. You're just weird, like the wenches, that they always have, like Jason Black said that, the spooky whatever, whatever, I don't know, he got a term. You say like 90% of the characters, and it's true. They're all either like psychic and stupid and, but that shit is scary. That shit is scary because the Honorable Malcolm X was this close of getting to the United Nations and declaring these crimes against humanity, and it was gonna create a whole I guess it turned out to be the African Union, or what's the other one? But it was going to be something only for, at least, it helped, I know there's a lot of traitors, but at least, having your own government and stuff, like, look like you, gotta be, I'm mortified in my country. I say, like, how come the Senate, how come, Congress, it looked like so pale. It's not representative of the population in Mexico. And people go like, how dare you? We're all Mexicans, whatever, blah, 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 always with the bullshit. And I cannot believe after, it's gonna be, well, it's almost 15 years now. And I'm still alone. Because my cause is to have, people, in order to have self-determination, they gotta have their own space to govern themselves, I always been like if they ask me, what are you about? I'm against representation. I want equal participation. And not only equal participation, I want, according to the real population. Like in Mexico, I can believe, all the newscasters, all the anchors, whatever, they look fucking European. The same thing with the politics, the same thing with everything, hell no. They have 2 or 3, indigenous peoples, and everybody else, some freaking last names you cannot even, German last names, all that shit. This is like, that shit gotta end. And everybody thinks it's something vain, it's something unimportant, it's something like, no. We gotta give them back their land, and we gotta give them back the control of their land. That was I'm remembering right now, like 15 years ago, I was like, to me it was the realization that it's like, because, I don't know, I guess there was a lot of people talking about Azania, they call South Africa, saying that, over there, say we're in the same situation. Our situation is not different. They own all the land, they own everything, and, they control us, they tell us, and it's outrageous too. Azania is outrageous because, some shit in Africa, and, and nobody owns the land. It's only the Europeans that own the land, and pull all the strings. The same situation is over here. So, I mean, that should be the step number one. They say no taxation without representation. That's a trap. That's not like, we don't want to be I don't want to be represented. I mean, like, I mean, if I was, dark skin, whatever, if I was African directly, I mean, I know we're all diasporic Africans, even to the 4th and the 5th degree as myself, but we got to stop the bullshit. We got to stop the bullshit because I don't know what it feels like. I don't know what it's like. So nobody knows what it's like. Only they know what it's like, and they should all be having, according to their, like I say, the contributions to society. It should be according to their contributions to society. Like everywhere you go, it's always the indigenous people who make the highest contributions to society. It's like they don't know Mexico because whatever, like the Creoles, whatever the Creoles have done, or mestizos, whatever, mulattoes. No, people, they know about my country because that's indigenous, Afro-Mexicans, who have created all the culture, everything for us, to thrive. That's called the Toltecayotl, kind of like the equivalent of the principles of Ma'at. But that's what it was right here in the Anáhuac. In the whole Anáhuac, sometimes even then the Abiyala, which is what they call, South America. They used to come to Cholula. Over there in Puebla. That was when it used to be like, that was the place, and they say the equivalent of a university. There was no equivalent. It was I guess it could be, if you have to say, what it was, I guess you could say the equivalent of a university, but there was no subjects. There was no like math and physics, everything. No, everything was everything. Everything was everything. That's why a lot of people, they think like, Toltecs, it was a culture. The Toltec culture, that somebody was called Toltec because they was from whatever land. No, that was a degree of consciousness. That's when you become a Toltec. Eres Tolteca. You're like, you have a high degree of consciousness. That's what it was. That's what it was. And that was the first massacre from Hernán Cortés. They arrived into there, led by that bed wench, La Malinche, and she told them everything, what to say, what not to say. But even so, they was found out. The elder and the sage, they send a message. We know who you are. You are not coming from Huitzilopochtli. You're not coming, we know who you are. And that's when he massacred everybody. Allegedly, they massacred. I say a lot of them because they already knew, like when you are like, like consulting the oracle Ifa, or, whatever, you already know what's going on. So I'm sure a lot of them, they escaped, but they did kill a lot of elders and sage, and they say they was coming from all over to study in Cholula. That's where the biggest, largest pyramid in the whole planet that we know so far. They say in China there's some larger ones, but we don't know them yet. But so far the largest pyramid is in Mexico, what we call Mexico today. In Cholula, that's where it was. But anyway, so I feel better now. I'm like, I gotta go to the ladies' room. Ladies. Later. I want to say later. Like with the cold and then gotta go. Oh, it's not stopping.